Every single block near me has these fucking potholes. What are you doing? To the stop sign. Jeez. What are you doing? Wait, Jesus Christ. What are you doing? What is up, everybody? I'm EastPhilly and I am on the hunt for red brick houses. What is this guy doing? Come on. Come on. What do you want me to do? There's a fucking truck in the way. Me and my fiance are getting married at the end of the year. Not end of the year, probably end of summer pretty much it would be. It's September. And we are out house hunting. So I am going to look at a few houses. Well, not the insides of the house. I'm kind of just going to see what the neighborhoods look like, ride around a little bit, see what the outsides look like, see if it's even worth going to see them. It's been a little hard because every time we wind up seeing a house that we like or that we're interested in, it winds up selling within being only a few days on the market. One house we looked at, we really liked, but then when we got toward the time of actually putting a bid on the house, there were all these problems that wound up popping up on the house because the seller didn't want to tell us about them. They're pretty much just kind of withholding information that would be pertinent to us buying the house and things that were needed to be done with the house and stuff like that. So that kind of screwed us up. We spent a lot of time thinking and looking at this one house, and it got all screwed up because the person just was dumb about it. They didn't want to do the right stuff to get the house legal, pretty much, and wasted both our times. And they lied to us about a couple things, but now we're still looking. It's a little hard because a lot of people price stuff at way above what it's worth. They think, oh, well, we redid the kitchen, that means the house is worth $40,000 more than what it's really worth. Where you see people that buy a house 15 years ago for whatever price, and they're trying to sell it for like $150,000 more than what they bought it for. So yeah, you want to get more so that when you go to look for a house, you can afford it, because property values have gone up for some reason, even though that's a whole different thing. Now, property values don't go up in terms of inflation the way that the rest of everything else goes up in terms of inflation. People decide, oh, I flip a house, I'm going to make it worth 3 times more than it's worth, and someone buys it, but now everybody else in the area thinks, oh, well, I can sell my house for that much. They really can't. It really artificially inflates everything and makes the whole market really shitty. People say, oh, my parents could buy a house without a college degree and they didn't have to work as hard as we have to work now. No, it's not because of what they did or this and that. It's not because of inflation. It's because people are artificially inflating prices for stuff that are really dumb. I think the big reason for it is 10, 20, 30 years ago, whatever, houses, even before that, since, I don't know, probably like the 40s or whatever, houses are like a long-term investment. You buy a house, you're probably going to live in it for your whole life, since you get married until you die, and then you either give it to your kids, or somebody buys it because your kids go out and buy a house. You didn't see it then like you do now, where everyone Oh, they're buying a house and 5 years later they're selling it because they put a new kitchen in it and they think that they can get $20,000, $30,000 more for the house when they put a $5,000 kitchen in it. And it's even dumber is location based. There's houses where I work going for $400,000+ that are no better than the house I grew up in that my mom bought for $45,000 in the 80s, and it's probably worth like the higher 100,000s now, which seems more in line with inflation. But you build a new house next to that one that's the same exact layout. You put a nicer kitchen into it, where the nicer kitchen is what is not up to date, but it's what is today's fashion, where the house before had the fashion of that time, and it's really not worth more than any other houses around it. You got to look at the houses around where you're buying to really understand what the house you're looking at is worth. A lot of the houses we're looking at are in the upper 200,000s right now, and all the houses around it are in the lower 200,000s. And people think, oh, mine's worth in the upper 200,000s because I redid the kitchen, or I decided to add on to the house. I decided to change the garage into an extra bedroom. Well, that doesn't really change the value of the house. You did stuff that you wanted to do to a house, and you think it's worth more because of that. I may not like that stuff. I may like the layout of the house and the area, but just because you took your garage and made it into a sunroom doesn't mean that I'd rather just not have a garage anymore. But that doesn't mean your house is automatically worth an extra $40,000 because you put $20,000 into turning it into a sunroom. That was your choice for something that you decided you wanted. Anyway, we're getting married in September. We're looking at houses now. I'd like to find a house within the next month or two. Because after you find the house, it's usually about a month to a month and a half, maybe 2 months at most, before you can actually move into the house. And that's as long as there's no problems. In PA, it's a little different than other places. In PA, if I put a bid down on a house, and I get an inspector in there, and that inspector says, whoa, there's tons of termite damage, and the vents are messed up for the AC, and this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong, that could wind up costing me $30,000 to fix, depending on what all the damages are. Now, over in Jersey, right across the river, you'd have to get a lawyer involved, you'd have to go to court, this and that, just to back out of your bid. PA, I could say, look, you didn't disclose any of this, you didn't do your job, why would you try to sell me a house without getting all this checked out? Now what could have cost you $5,000 is going to wind up costing you $30,000 because you didn't do the right thing in the first place. Screw you, I'm out.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, you're cool, and fuck you, I'm out.
There's better areas to live that are cheaper and have lower taxes. Not even lower taxes, but the taxes are about the same as where we're looking. But the problem is the location isn't great. Not saying like the crime is bad or something, it's just the commute for both of us would be terrible. Where I work, I can kind of move my location pretty quickly. I can say, hey, I want to transfer to this other office, and there's a good chance I'll get there. That if we go up this way, say, it'll probably be about 45 minutes each way on my commute to get to work. And I don't mind that. I'll set up my bike to get a little bit better gas mileage, to be a little bit more highway oriented. But as long as I'm getting a house that I'll enjoy living in, that I feel safe in the area, that I feel I'm getting my money's worth, I don't mind a commute. And because I work in South Philly right now, and I can easily move up to like North Philly-ish area, Northeast Philly, possibly far northeast, maybe northwest a little bit if I really wanted to. And I could easily knock almost 30 minutes off of my commute. It's not a big deal to me. I can go from probably not 30 minutes, I can go from a 45-minute commute to probably a 30-minute commute. Not 15, 20 minutes off. But a lot of the other places we were looking at are over outside of Philly, going west, like up 76. I know a lot of you might not know where that area is, but it's out west. My fiance actually works up this way that I'm driving now, so for her to get to work would be over an hour usually. So that'd be almost 2 to 3 hours she'd be commuting every day, compared to maybe the hour and a half that it would take me, because where I work is right off of 95, and the places we're looking at are right off of 95. So it's more beneficial that we go up this way. Even if I move offices, it's still more beneficial for us to move up this way. And we're looking at houses that are more northwest of here and whatnot, but still, if we went southwest, straight south toward Delaware, we can get nicer houses for less money, better tax rates, good school districts, but it would be more unfair to her for getting to work. Especially the hours that she winds up working, she'd be in traffic both ways. It would wind up taking her closer to 2.5 hours of commuting per day. So we're looking up this way more. I think this way is going to be winding up being better anyway. Like all those houses are really nice, but just because where they are, they're probably charging $400,000, which is absurd for those houses. None of them are worth more than $250. It is ridiculous. Same with up there. Just because of whatever neighborhood or little township they're in, they probably go for closer to 400 or mid 300s. Those houses on that side probably are worth less than the houses on this side, even though those are bigger, just because they're in a different township. It is ridiculous. Ridiculous. A $250,000 house out here is going to cost a lot more than a $250,000 house in the city. But you're probably going to get more house out here sometimes. Like these houses, they might go for $250. You're not getting as much house as a house in the city. You're getting one level, probably no basement. You get a bigger yard, yeah, but you just get a driveway. Some of the houses we were looking at had garages, and were bigger in terms of square footage because they go up 2 stories and they have a basement, and some of them have a garage that is attached to the basement. That sounds weird, but the basement and the garage are on the ground level. Then your first floor is up, and then your second floor is up as well. It doesn't make sense unless you see it. And then out here, the taxes are way higher. So for a smaller house with less features, less room technically in the end, that was a weird little wiggle, you're paying more in taxes. Okay, the school district might be better, but you're going to be living uncomfortably. So for me, it's for both of us, it's more about space. Like a lot of these houses are pretty big in terms of square footage, but the layouts are so terrible. Like that house is probably pretty nice. It has a garage, 2 garages, 2-story house. Probably doesn't have a basement, but it's not a bad thing if you have enough garage space. I don't park my car in a garage. If we had 2 garages like that, that'd be great, because I would have one for me if I put the motorcycle and a bunch of my tools and my work stuff in, and the other side would be for my fiance and her car and stuff, because her car is, well, it's a lease, so we want to keep it inside anyway, but it's just a nicer car, so you keep it inside. Not a huge deal. But it's like stuff like this, that's a great house. Even if it didn't have a basement. As long as the layout for everything inside is good, that'd be nice. So I'd like to hear from a lot of you people, first-time homeowners, long-time homeowners. What are some suggestions you would say? Because, I mean, we're going out looking, we have a realtor. We've been looking near and far, far and near, sometimes way too far, sometimes higher up in our budget range, sometimes lower in our budget range. I mean, anything that's lower mid is nice because then that's a little bit of money we save. Or if we go lower in the budget range and the taxes are higher, that's not too bad. What do you suggest? Because for us it's more about space. We can deal with a few flaws in a house as long as the space is good. We went to one house that had great space. Awesome house. I wouldn't want to move from there for 50 years. But there was electrical issues. There was the garage needed a new ceiling on the inside. Looked like there was probably a raccoon up there or something. I don't know. But the house, they were charging too much for what it was, and we'd probably have to get almost 50,000 less, maybe not, maybe like 40 less than what they were selling it for, just to be able to repair the house to a point to make it what they wanted. And it's hard to tell because the other houses in that area were a good bit higher in price than that house. And this one needed a lot of work, so maybe that's why, I don't know. But it was too much work would have to go into it. It would take us 3-4 years just to get the house to a point where it'd be perfect, I would say, quote unquote. Because it's never actually going to be perfect, but to a point where it was more livable. And it just wasn't worth it for us, at least, for buying our first house. Then we've seen houses that were great, they were updated, they had nice kitchens, they had good features, but it was just too small. There was pretty much no closet space, nowhere to put anything. Like, you gotta think, if you have Christmas decorations, or any type of decorations for the different holidays and the seasons, where are you gonna put any of this stuff? I grew up in a small row home, but we have basements, and even now I live in a small row home, and we have a basement. And the basement, it's not a finished basement. We don't go down there for like TV and stuff. It's storage. It's your laundry room. We have a bunch of shelves down there, racks. I have my guitars. I have my reloading stuff. It's just, it's just, this space is, it's not a big house, but the space is good. So I just looked at a house in this area, and then I put the GPS back to my house that I live now, and at this time of day, I'd be leaving to go to work way early because I'd usually have to be at work by now if I was on night work. This time of day it's like 30 minutes to my house, and then my house to work is usually, I'd say 20 minutes if you don't count getting it from my house to the highway. That's a 50-minute commute. Again, it's not terrible, but it's not great. That's weird. But that's 20 minutes from where I live now to my work. I'd be moving offices closer from here than where I live now. A good 15 minutes closer. So that means going from here to work would still take about 30 minutes because it's some street travel. It's not all highway. Where my house is right off the highway. So I'd be getting to work in 25-30 minutes compared to 45 minutes, just because I decided to switch offices pretty much, which isn't bad. Yeah, I'd be working with new people or have to make new friends, get used to different things, depending on, I don't know if my schedule would change. My schedule might change in a way that I'd wind up having less traffic going to work. Because if I change offices, it doesn't mean I'm going to have the same exact schedule that I do now. When you change offices like that, you go to whatever kind of shift that they need you on, which could mean I'd be working midnight to 8 a.m. So it's a gamble, but that'll turn my commute from 30 minutes into 25 minutes probably without traffic. Getting home, it'd probably still be easy because people are going toward the city instead of away. I'd be going away from the city to get home. It's still not bad. So there's a lot of pros and cons, but it's not bad. I think I've gone on way too long for this. Thank you all for watching and listening. Again, if you have any advice on this homeowner stuff, looking for houses and whatnot, please leave a comment down in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. I'm back. I'm going to try to start up a better schedule of videos and kind of more content. If you liked it, give it a like. If you disliked it, give it a dislike. And if you did dislike it, please let me know in the comments down below why, so I can make this channel better for both you and me. This is the EastPhilly YouTube channel. Have a great day. Bye-bye.